He was born in the shadows of myth, under a sky painted by regime legends. Official North Korean history claims that he was born on February 16, 1942, in a secret camp on sacred Mount Paekju, as a bright star appeared and a double rainbow stretched across the sky. But outside North Korea, most historians agree that he was born in 1941 in a Soviet military camp near Khabarovsk, in the Russian Far East. His father was Kim Il-sung, the founding dictator of North Korea. His mother was Kim Jong-suk, a revolutionary figure herself. From the moment of his birth, Kim Jong Il was groomed for power, raised not as a child but as the heir to a throne of isolation, terror, and absolute rule. Education, from first class to final step. Kim Jong Il received his early education at elite schools in Pyongyang, designed specifically for the children of high-ranking officials. Unlike most of the population, he was afforded the best resources, personalized tutors, and a curriculum rooted in loyalty to the regime. From a young age, he was trained in the teachings of Marxism, Leninism, and Juche, the North Korean state ideology built by his father. He later studied at Kim Il-sung University, the top academic institution in the country. There, he majored in political economy and ideology. His academic record, like much of his life, is wrapped in state propaganda. Official accounts describe him as a genius, an intellectual unmatched in military and economic matters, and a prolific writer of books and essays. But independent observers note that much of his published work was ghostwritten by party officials and scholars under compulsion. While his formal education was carefully orchestrated, his real training came through years of quiet observation inside the regime. He studied his father's rule, watched how loyalty was demanded and fear was maintained. He learned that in North Korea, power was not given, it was controlled, guarded, and inherited like sacred fire. How he became a dictator. Kim Jong Il's path to dictatorship was unlike any other communist leader. It was not achieved through revolution or election, but by royal succession. His father, Kim Il-sung, had begun grooming him for power decades before his own death. This transition marked the first hereditary communist dynasty in the world, a contradiction to the principles of equality the regime claimed to uphold. In the 1970s, Kim Jong Il was placed in charge of the Organization and Guidance Department of the Workers' Party of Korea. This office became his main tool for power. Through it, he controlled appointments, purged rivals, and built a network of unwavering loyalty. He learned how to strike quietly, promoting one official while destroying another behind the scenes. He was also given control of the propaganda and culture department. He oversaw the film industry, the music campaigns, the textbooks, and the public imagery. Kim Jong Il was obsessed with cinema and storytelling. He believed that loyalty to the state was not enough, the people must believe in the myth of leadership. He shaped that myth carefully, turning his own image into that of a supreme genius, a military strategist, and a cultural icon. By the 1980s, he was known informally as the Dear Leader. His name was added to state slogans and military oaths. His portraits hung next to his father's in classrooms and factories. His guidance was quoted in speeches and printed in newspapers. Yet he rarely spoke in public. When Kim Il-sung died in 1994, Kim Jong Il took control of the country. But the transition was not immediate. For a time, he ruled without taking his father's titles. He declared his father eternal president, allowing himself to rule as supreme commander and chairman of the National Defense Commission. In North Korea's structure, these titles gave him full control over the military, the party, and the state. His dictatorship was not built on charisma or revolution. It was built on fear, surveillance, and control of perception. He did not need to speak to be obeyed. His silence became policy. His image, elevated beyond criticism, became law. After acquiring dictatorship, rule over army and country, Kim Jong Il ruled during one of the darkest periods in North Korea's history. Shortly after taking power, the country descended into economic collapse. The Soviet Union, North Korea's longtime benefactor, had fallen. Foreign aid vanished. Crops failed. The economy, never efficient, collapsed. From 1994 to 1998, a devastating famine swept the country. While the regime called it the arduous march, the reality was mass starvation. Estimates suggest that between 200,000 and 3 million people died. The government denied the crisis for years, insisting that the country was self-reliant. Food was reserved for the military and the elite. Ordinary citizens ate grass, tree bark, and rats to survive. Families perished in silence. No memorials were allowed. Kim Jong-il did not admit failure. Instead, he blamed natural disasters and foreign hostility. He used the crisis to tighten his grip. Food distribution was linked to loyalty. Those who defied the state were not only denied aid, they were imprisoned or executed. The labor camps expanded. The surveillance deepened. Neighbors informed on each other. Fear became a form of currency. Despite the internal crisis, Kim continued to develop North Korea's military. He adopted the Song-un, or military first policy, which placed the army at the center of national life. Resources were poured into defense while civilians starved. The Korean People's Army became the backbone of the regime, a sacred shield to protect the supreme leader from real or imagined enemies. Under Kim's leadership, North Korea pursued nuclear weapons. In 2006, it conducted its first underground nuclear test, defying international law. Sanctions followed. Isolation deepened, but inside the country, the test was hailed as proof of greatness. Kim had made North Korea a nuclear power, small, impoverished, and starved, but dangerous. Propaganda reached new levels under his rule. He was described as an artist, a composer, a poet, a master of technology, and a hero to all peoples. He reportedly wrote operas, invented new theories, and performed miracles. In reality, he lived in luxury, with imported goods, fine wines, and palaces hidden in forests and mountains. The people did not know this. They were told he lived modestly, working day and night for their happiness. He rarely traveled abroad, and when he did, it was in secrecy. He distrusted even his closest aides. Paranoia ruled his inner circle. Ministers were purged without warning. Family members were sidelined. Loyalty was absolute or it was betrayal. North Korea became a kingdom of shadows ruled by the voice and image of a man who almost never appeared in public. List of bad deeds. Presided over a man-made famine that led to the deaths of hundreds of thousands, possibly millions, of his own citizens. Expanded and reinforced a network of prison and labor camps where torture, starvation, and executions were common. Eliminated political dissent through purges, show trials, and public executions. Imposed complete censorship, banning foreign media, music, and contact. Oversaw mass surveillance and collective punishment systems that imprisoned entire families for one person's actions. Promoted a cult of personality so extreme that people were required to cry at official events or face punishment. Developed nuclear weapons in defiance of international agreements, leading to global sanctions and isolation. Maintained a lifestyle of luxury while the majority of his citizens suffered malnutrition and oppression. List of good deeds. maintained stability and internal order during a time of global upheaval and domestic famine, advanced the country's military deterrence through nuclear weapons, which some viewed as protection against foreign invasion, modernized certain sectors of the military and invested in technology and missile development, promoted literacy and primary education among the population, continuing the state's focus on basic education for all. These acts, however, were overshadowed by the suffering and repression endured by millions under his rule. Death date and cause. Kim Jong Il died on December 17, 2011, reportedly from a heart attack while traveling on his private train. His death was announced 2 days later. North Korea entered a period of deep mourning. State television showed citizens sobbing in the streets, wailing in front of monuments. Whether this grief was genuine, staged, or coerced remains a matter of speculation. The machinery of control did not stop for death. Where buried? Kim Jong-il's body was embalmed and placed in the same mausoleum as his father, now renamed the Kumsusan Palace of the Sun. His body lies in a glass coffin, guarded day and night. His image remains on walls and badges across the nation. His rule ended in death, but his dynasty continued.